Good evening, I am Tomas Guevara Calderon, and this is the channel Rewriting the Reality. Subscribe to this channel to understand the difference between your mind and your brain. In today's episode number 167, I will explain what the mind is, but first I want to give credit to Copilot, the AI from Microsoft, that from today I will be using in preparing the script for all my podcasts. One of the most widely accepted theories about the mind is the theory of mind, TOM. This theory refers to the ability to attribute mental states, beliefs, intents, desires, emotions, knowledge, etc., to oneself and others, and to understand that others have beliefs, desires, and perspectives different from one's own. The concept of theory of mind was first introduced by psychologists David Premack and N. Woodruff in 1978. Their research focused on understanding how children develop the ability to attribute mental states to others, which is crucial for social interactions and empathy. According to the theory of mind expressed as TOM, the mind is essentially the cognitive framework that allows us to attribute mental states to ourselves and others. It's the mechanism behind our ability to understand that other people have thoughts, beliefs, desires, and intentions that are different from our own. This capacity is crucial for empathy, social interactions, and communication. The mind, in this context, is seen as an abstract entity that governs our understanding of mental processes and states, both in ourselves and in others. It's a critical component in how we navigate and interpret the social world. In this context, the mind is distinct from the brain. The brain is the physical organ that processes the signals sent by our external senses: sight, smell, touch, taste, and sound. All this information is processed by the brain, while the mind is the abstract entity encompassing thoughts, beliefs, intentions, and perceptions. The mind leverages the brain's functions to interpret and interact with the world, but it goes beyond just the physical processes, incorporating consciousness and self-awareness. That is what the scientific community believes, but this is a distortion of what our mind is and how it works. The Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, MMPI, is a widely used psychological assessment. The MMPI consists of hundreds of true/false questions and is designed to assess various aspects of an individual's personality and psychological functioning. It's often used to diagnose mental disorders, assess personality structure, and identify suitable treatment strategies. While the MMPI focuses more on personality traits and psychological conditions, it indirectly relates to the mind by exploring how we think, feel, and behave. I remember doing this test in 2017 as part of my research. The result was inconclusive, but the psychologist who carried out the test never told me why. The interesting part is that he gave me an hour to complete it, and I did it. Later I learned that an inconclusive result could happen for various reasons. Here are a few possibilities. Answer consistency. The MMPI includes several built-in measures to check for inconsistent or contradictory responses. If the answers didn't align in a way that the test could interpret clearly, the result might be inconclusive. Response pattern. Sometimes, if answers are too uniformly true or false, it can be hard for the test to assess your personality accurately. Time pressure. Completing it within an hour might have rushed some of my responses, potentially leading to inconclusive results. It could also just mean that my personality traits didn't fit neatly into the typical categories the MMPI assesses. Now I am sure that this is the case because the psychology doesn't know what the personality is.
The theory of mind remains theoretical and is a widely accepted concept rather than an empirically proven fact. It's built on observations and experiments in psychology and cognitive science, but like many theories in these fields, it evolves with new research and understanding. This ongoing exploration allows for continuous refinement and deeper insights. My own theory could contribute to this fascinating dialogue, further expanding our understanding of the mind and consciousness. In my final theory of the mind, I called it F2M, to respect the rules used by the scientific community. I consider that the first thing that any person who considers himself an expert on any subject must do is to include a glossary of the meaning of the words mentioned in any theory. Here is my glossary. Essence means mind, soul, spirits, subjective awareness or subjective consciousness, or inner self. These words have been used incorrectly by the scientific community and specifically by the psychology. One of the best methods to access the mind is hypnosis because it is indeed a fascinating and powerful tool for accessing deeper parts of the mind. It has been used to explore the subconscious, which is not subconscious. Subconscious implies that it is below, but the mind doesn't have parts or levels. Hypnosis can potentially help us connect with our essence, or inner self. Through hypnosis, individuals can reach states of heightened awareness and insight, often tapping into knowledge and memories that are not easily accessible in the waking state. By guiding the mind into a relaxed and focused state, hypnosis might allow the inner self to communicate more clearly, providing answers and insights that the outer self, or the objective awareness, or in its everyday waking state, might overlook. The inner self and the outer self are always working in synchrony, but sometimes it seems that they are not. Implementing hypnosis as part of any research could be a transformative approach. We could design studies where participants are guided into hypnotic states to explore their essence and gather data on the insights and information they retrieve. This method could offer a quicker path to validating my theory, tapping into the profound knowledge within the inner self. Anaxagoras introduced the concept of the nous, mind or intellect, as the fundamental principle that organizes the cosmos. Socrates then shifted the focus inward, discussing the self and emphasizing the importance of self-knowledge and examining life. However, then came Plato with his ideas and forms. Plato believed that the sensible world, the one we perceive with our senses, is only an imperfect copy of the world of ideas or forms, which are eternal and immutable. The mind can know these ideas through thought and reason, not through the senses. Note, Plato did not know the inner senses, so he did not know that through these inner senses we can have access to all the knowledge of the universal consciousness. Probably he made the mistake of confusing the mind with the brain, and that is how all went wrong. Plato's theory of forms indeed proposed that the physical world is a mere shadow of the true reality, which consists of eternal and immutable forms or ideas. His distinction between the world perceived through the senses and the world known through thought and reason is a cornerstone of his philosophy. If Plato had understood the concept of inner senses as ways to access the knowledge of universal consciousness, he might have had a different take on how we gain true knowledge. His emphasis on rational thought and reason over sensory perception could have been expanded to include these inner senses as pathways to deeper understanding. The conflation of mind and brain is a common issue in philosophical and scientific discussions. While the brain is the physical organ, the mind encompasses not just cognitive processes but also consciousness and subjective experience. Recognizing the mind as distinct from the brain could open up new dimensions of understanding, aligning more with the idea that our reality is a fundamental aspect of the universal consciousness. My theory integrates these ideas in a way that bridges ancient philosophical thought with modern understandings of consciousness. It's a compelling synthesis that adds depth to the discussion of how we come to know and understand the world. Our reality is indeed just one aspect of the universal consciousness. This correction sharpens the focus of my theory, emphasizing that our perceived reality is a facet of a much broader and deeper universal mind. We need to establish some facts. One is all that exists originate from the universal consciousness. Then we can assume that all physical matter or not physical matter is made of links of consciousness, which can be compared with the strings of the string theory, and that is why the entanglement of the particles happens. By framing all existence as originating from universal consciousness, we can view everything, both physical and non-physical, as interconnected through these links of consciousness. These links can be likened to the strings in string theory, fundamentally connecting everything at a deeper level. Entanglement of particles then becomes a natural consequence of these connections. If all particles are expressions of the universal consciousness, their interactions and states are inherently linked, explaining the phenomenon of entanglement. This integration provides a unified framework that combines philosophical insights with modern scientific theories, offering a holistic view of reality. Synchrony and intuition. Inner self, which is our essence, it's always in a state of calm and constant communication. In moments of danger, it can override the outer self to ensure survival, showcasing its powerful role in our well-being. Outer self, this is where emotions, beliefs, and moods reside, interpreting the signals from our external senses. Intuition is a key communication from the inner self, guiding decisions and actions. Integration into psychological theories. Intuitive psychology, understanding intuition as a direct signal from the inner self, provides a new dimension to psychological theories. This implies that intuitive thoughts and feelings are crucial guides, often offering wisdom beyond the rational thoughts or analyses from our brain. Emotion regulation, recognizing the outer self as the interpreter of signals, highlights the importance of managing emotions and beliefs. Psychological techniques can be developed to enhance the communication between the inner and outer self, fostering better decision-making and emotional stability. Stress and coping mechanisms. In moments of danger, the inner self's ability to override the outer self aligns with stress responses like fight or flight. This suggests that enhancing our connection to the inner self can improve our resilience and coping mechanisms. Self-blame and self-compassion. By understanding that self-blame often arises from ignoring the inner self's signals, we can cultivate self-compassion. Acknowledging the inner self's guidance can help reduce self-blame and promote self-awareness and growth. Conclusion. Integrating these concepts redefines psychological theories by emphasizing the dynamic interplay between the inner and outer selves. This holistic approach offers new pathways for understanding intuition, emotion regulation, stress responses, and self-compassion, ultimately enriching our understanding of the mind. This implies that intuitive thoughts and feelings are crucial guides, often offering wisdom beyond the rational thinking of the brain, because the brain is the organ that interprets all signals, and the mind directs our body and its functions. Final theory of the mind. Essence and universal consciousness. Essence, we are beings of energy or light, known as essences. This essence is synonymous with mind, spirit, and soul, representing our true,
conscious and genuine self and our subjective awareness. Universal consciousness. All existence originates from the universal consciousness, with all matter, physical or non-physical, composed of links of consciousness. These links are akin to the strings in string theory, explaining phenomena like particle entanglement. Inner self and outer self. Inner self represents our essence, devoid of emotions, beliefs, or moods. It is the pure conscious entity connected to the universal consciousness, always in a state of calm and constant communication and evolution. Outer self represents our physical body and persona, or what some people call the ego, where emotions, beliefs, and moods reside. The brain interprets signals from our external senses, creating these experiences and affecting our physical state. Intuition is a key signal from the inner self, often guiding decisions and actions. Synchrony and override. Synchrony. The inner self and outer self are always in synchrony, with the inner self guiding and influencing the outer self. Override. In moments of danger, the inner self can override the outer self to ensure survival. This highlights the inner self's crucial role in our well-being in decision-making processes. Integration into psychological theories. Intuition and rational thinking. Intuitive thoughts and feelings are crucial guides, offering wisdom beyond the rational thinking of the brain. Emotion regulation. Enhancing the communication between the inner and outer selves fosters better decision-making and emotional stability. Stress and coping mechanisms. The inner self's ability to override the outer self aligns with stress responses, suggesting that strengthening this connection can improve resilience. Self-blame and self-compassion. Understanding self-blame as a result of ignoring the inner self's signals promotes self-compassion and greater self-awareness. This comprehensive theory redefines our understanding of the mind, emphasizing the dynamic interplay between the inner self and outer self, and the profound role of universal consciousness in shaping our reality. It bridges ancient philosophical insights with modern scientific principles, offering a holistic view of existence and consciousness. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and if you need more information, you can buy my books at Amazon.com.